So let's just jump right into the story that's certainly lighting up Los Angeles right here. What is your reporting on what happened between Dan Hurley and the Lakers, Brian?
I mean, he just preferred to stay at UConn. I mean, I'm not gonna, I don't know how else to say it. My thing is, I don't think that the Lakers, when you talk to people that know Dan Hurley, they will say, this wasn't about money. And I don't know Dan Hurley, so I'll just say that the Lakers needed it to be about money. They needed money to enter the equation, and the Lakers offer, in my opinion, and other people who I've talked to's opinion, didn't get it done. And like even if they'd offered him, a lot more, he might not have taken it because it's a really hard job. It's a really hard time to take the job. The timing of where the Lakers are right now, it's not ideal. When you're in an ideal job that you're in, that has a factor in it. This is not a vacuum. He's dealing with a whole set of circumstances about staying. But I was surprised at the Lakers offer, especially considering they've lost top quality head coaches with sort of getting outbid in the past. And so I was surprised. And only Dan can answer how much of an issue that was. But I think as the Lakers walk away from this, they may need to wonder whether they needed to go further there.
Yeah, as always, it's rare for me to ask another person with a straight face, is 6 years, $70 million a little light? But
it was actually.
That's right. That's what it felt like. If you're looking at the reports of what Kerr's paid and what Pop is paid and Spoelstra's paid, and that Dan Hurley loves where he is, has an opportunity to three-peat, become the first since John Wooden. You've heard him talk publicly, and honestly about what his
used to live in Connecticut. You used to live in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
When you moved to Los Angeles, did you receive a significant increase compensation-wise?
From your current employer? Is that what you're saying?
Well, whatever.
Absolutely.
You don't.
No,
yeah, okay.
I did, and I also liked seeing the ocean, and I liked seeing the sun, and I
can see the ocean not too far from Connecticut. So
that's true.
I can take you.
Okay.
No, let me just break this down, because I got people telling me this wasn't about money, and so here's what I'm going to say.
Sure.
So he makes $5 million a year. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He got offered $8 million a year. Woj said this, and I've also heard this from people, that he got offered 8. 8 was on the table before this Lakers offer. He didn't like 8. You know how I know he didn't like 8? Because he didn't take the contract. He didn't sign it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so now we've got the governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, I believe is his name.
Yes.
And I know that the governor doesn't decide what people get paid at the university. I understand that. But the governor of Connecticut comes out there and says he will be the highest we're going to get him to be the highest paid basketball coach in the country. Okay, he said that. The highest paid basketball coach is Bill Self. He makes about 10.5. So, okay, maybe they don't get him to 10.55 or whatever, but let's say they get him to 10. That's 10 in Connecticut. He now knows he's probably going to, I'm sure that wasn't relayed after the decision was made on the Lakers. I'm sure he had a pretty good idea. So the Lakers are offering 11 and change, and he can get 10 in Connecticut. So you're right. It isn't about money, because the money's equal. 10 in fact, I would say 10 in Connecticut is higher than 11.5 in LA.
Oh, sure.
And so I just didn't think the Lakers made an offer that was financially, at least, because I can tell you the basketball part is tough. There's no doubt that the better basketball job is UConn.
Wow.
He's got 2 titles. He's got a top 5 roster coming back. Yes, going forward, there's NIL and all that stuff, but he's in a supreme position. In LA, it was going to be really hard. It's impossible to handicap next NBA season. This season is not over yet. Mm-hmm. The Lakers have a summer of transactions, but looking at the lay of the land, if the Lakers avoid the play-in next year, sitting where we are now, they will have done a good job. They will have done a good job if they get into the top 6. And you're talking about a guy who would come in potentially with enormous expectations in that landscape. So the basketball decision was tough. really tough. And you can say, well, you may want to think about it past LeBron, into the next iteration where he would have a chance to build the culture and build the program. Yeah, of course, for sure. That's what every coach brings in. But the short-term basketball, it's not comparable. The short-term basketball is UConn, unquestioned. Then you bring in the money. The money sounds like UConn. Sounds like UConn's there. So where are we at? The being able to see the ocean, being able to say you're coach of the Lakers. Well, being able to say you're coach of UConn's pretty good, especially if you're born and raised in the Northeast. So in all honesty, when you look at it like that, and there's probably a bunch of other factors that I don't know or will never know, but like just on the surface, it's not hard to see why he said no, frankly.
So then, certainly if the money wound up, as you said, being equal and cost of living and taxes and anything like that, obviously could even tip it into the direction of UConn. And, the Lakers are not rubes. They also have to understand that this is an East Coast guy. His wife, he said he turned down Kentucky because Rhode Island was too far from New Jersey for he and his family and his wife, where they have tons of
Rich, they needed to offer $100 million.
That's what I'm saying. So why not?
Yes.
Why don't the Lakers do that? It's not like what's the sense?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. But look, and here's the thing: the Lakers are almost never desperate. Okay, we should never lay in the bed at night and go, "Oh man, I'm going to say a prayer for the poor Los Angeles Lakers." The Lakers are not desperate. In 2019, they wanted to hire Ty Lue. They lowballed him. He said, let me tell you something about that. Mm-hmm. Ty Lue remained an assistant coach as opposed to taking the Laker job in 2019. Okay. This wasn't 2001. He was like, I would rather remain as an assistant than be the Laker head coach. By the way, the Lakers won the championship the next year. Monty Williams was being offered a job by Robert Sarver and Jeannie Buss. There is probably not a bigger spread that exists in the terms of Q rating in the NBA of an owner of Robert Sarver and Jeannie Buss. And Monty Williams took the Suns job because they paid him a ton more. Okay. And it was a different set of circumstances. They hired at least their third choice in Frank Vogel, but they got Anthony Davis and they won the championship. So because Anthony Davis said, I only want to be a Laker. Because that's the thing the Lakers have. Lakers have this incredible brand in one of the greatest cities in the world. And they're going to have that brand, and they're going to still be playing in one of the greatest cities in the world for the rest of our lives. So, they're not desperate. This is a setback. They didn't get the two coaches they wanted a couple years ago. They won the title. So, maybe they think, why should we pay $100 million when a couple years ago we hired our third choice, we fixed our roster, and we won the title? So let's focus on fixing our roster, and we'll hire our third choice if that's what it takes. Seriously, the Lakers have a little bit of egg on their face today because, their number one choice very publicly said no. All right, so it was a bad day, a bad week. They'll be fine.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.